Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Eddy County Expo 2020. Starting off the day with heifers, beef heifers. We'll have our steer show following that. Our judge today is Lane Hoffman from Garden City, Texas. Engaged and soon to be married to his future wife, Jamie. Lane graduated from Blinn College and Texas Tech University while competing on the livestock judging teams. His personal biggest highlight was being the national champion livestock judger at the national contest in Louisville. He enjoys judging all species and working with the youth all across the country. Give Lane a hand for coming out and judging our cattle today. And remember, please, no social media. Take all the pictures you want, post them on Thanksgiving. Don't shake the judge's hand, social distance, all that. In the swine show tonight.
We'll kick our cow show off this morning, and I just wanted to start off by saying some thanks for having me out here to judge. I know this show wasn't easy to put on. I know we had to jump through some hoops and go against some things to get this thing pulled off, but I'm really glad that it happened. These exhibitors deserve every chance they can get to get this stock shown and get to showcase their hard work that they've put in throughout the year. We're going to start off the heifer show here with this young man with this black and white female, one that's pretty intriguing when she hits the ring. I think that one's got a lot of breeding value. Just how stout and powerful she is, and her skeleton and just her overall build, and then still able to handle that pretty well when you set her in motion. She's got a ton of flex there to her lower joints. She's not the most feminine thing I've ever seen, but I bet that thing can go home and raise some pretty nice show calves if you want my opinion. I really like that thing quite a bit. I think the young man's got a really nice heifer there to take home and do some good with. The smoky one's going to come here in second. One that I like quite a bit from the side. I really like the way that one sects her neck off the top side of her shoulder. I think that one's level in terms of her spine. Only thing, you put that one in motion, she wants to kind of pivot there out of her hip. I'd like to see her flex her hock just a shot better. Has a tendency to get up under herself from an attractiveness standpoint, but standing still, I think that one looks neat from the side. The one that's going to come in here next, I think this one just needs a little more time. I think she's fighting some age maybe a little bit in this class. We only had one class, so we couldn't really split them up that well. A female, though, that I think's got all the right parts and pieces. Maybe it's not quite as progressive in terms of her rib. Maybe not quite as progressive in terms of maturity and how she's able to fill out down low. But I think that one's got a ton of upside, a ton of future. I like that one's build. Maybe just give that one a little more time. One that comes in here next, I think awfully stout and powerful. You get up high. That female is really big and bold in terms of her upper skeleton. Really like how stout and powerful she is out of her hip. But to me, I just like to change that one up from a balance perspective. I think she's a little open at the top of her shoulder, a little uncoordinated in how she goes, and not quite as attractive as what we have up to the top of this class. But I like a lot of things about that one as well. And the one that rounds out the class here, maybe is the youngest heifer that we have out here. This young lady's fighting her just a bit. I think that's a female, though, that just needs some more time. Like that one's build. I think she's got a lot of future. Just like to give that one some groceries and see how she ends up down the road. But a really nice heifer show. Let's give all these exhibitors a nice round if you don't mind.
Your first place and grand champion heifer went to Mason Golden of Cottonwood 4-H. Your reserve went to Abby Nichols of Blue Jeans and Boots. Third place went, nope, I'm so sorry. Second place went to Willow Nichols of Blue Jeans and Boots. No. Yeah. Abby Nichols got third. Your fourth place went to Cody Nichols, and fifth place went to JC Smith of Country Clovers 4-H.
We'll get this ring figured out here in just a little while, let these calves get settled down. But I think we've got a really interesting class to start off the steer show with. Well, I think we got a really interesting class to start off the steer show with here. A few different flavors in here, a few different shapes and sizes, and that makes it challenging at times, but it also makes it pretty interesting. The one I'm going to land on to win here, I think, is just the most fault-free in his build. I think that there's stouter calves out here, yeah, but I think that this guy just blends the most muscle, I think, in an adequate manner. I like this guy's skeleton. I like this guy's look of quality. I do think he could be just a touch fleshier. I do think he could be just a shot closer to market ready. But I think that's a calf that looks really good from the side. I like his skeleton. I like his build. I think he's got more than enough muscle for me, and that's why he's going to go ahead and win. The one coming in second is just a touch stouter. That guy is really opened up in terms of his chest, really big and stout in terms of his rib cage, and powerful out of his hip. That comes with a few more costs. I think he's a little open in terms of his shoulder. You get that guy going away from you. He wants to roll his hock just a touch. I'd like to just blend him a shot smoother all the way from the profile. Blend that shoulder into his full rib just a touch better. I'd like to fix the way he rolls out of his hip and his hock, but I think he's got some neat pieces. Just like to put him together in just a shot neater package. But a nice calf for that young lady. The white steer coming here next. Now this is definitely the most opened up. This is the burliest calf that we've got out here. Huge in the middle part of his body. That thing's got a lot of width down the top side of his skeleton. And with that being said, I'd just like to change that guy in terms of his maturity pattern. I think he's a little quick up through his front end. And then more than anything, that guy's skeleton just needs to read a shot more mobile for me. He's a little stiff in the way he moves out of his front end, a little more up and down in his shoulder. I'd like to see that guy go with the shot more coordination out of those rear two to help him out. But real big in the middle part of his body, real wide down the top side of his skeleton. Just like to fix his skeleton at that. One that comes out here next, I think this one just reads a shot greener in terms of his condition. A steer that I think is really nice to the front third of his body. I know he's giving this young lady some fits, but she's doing a great job getting him shown. One that I think is neat fronted, really cool looking from the side. I think he's just a little green, a little raw in terms of his condition. I think he shows up a little immature in terms of his belly and the amount of flank and fill that he's got today. I don't think that his hip and his hind leg posture helps that, but I do think that's a calf that's got a ton of shape, a ton of muscle expression. Just like to see that guy a little softer, see what he looks like with a few more pounds a little further down the road. The red one that comes next, really good looking from the profile, real level made, a real smooth made at that, but maybe to its detriment, he comes off just a shot flatter. I think that's the narrowest top calf that we have out here today. One that I just like to shape up a shot right behind his shoulder, see him a shot more powerful when he goes away, but that one's got a neat look from the side, just a shot flatter, just a shot narrower for me. So calves on down the line here, young man that comes next, got a real stout bone, heavy structured one. That one needs to be smoother in his shoulder. He needs to be a square right behind his shoulder. I think he's got a little more maturity showing up through his front end. And the one that comes next got some muscle. Like to tone that one back and freshen him up in his condition. Maybe redesign that one structurally. The two calves that come down the line, that round out the class here, I think are just too green, too immature. They just need a little more time. I think they're just getting out-horsed out here. But a really good class to start the steer show off with. Let's give them all a nice round if you would.
First place went to Wyatt Klein of Blue Jeans and Boots. Second place went to Haley Martin, Carlsbad FFA. Third place went to Alondra Gomez, tag 42317 of Artesia FFA. Fourth place went to JC Smith, Country Clovers. Fifth place went to Ansley Troublefield, Cottonwood 4-H. Sixth place went to Kiefer Klein, Blue Jeans and Boots. Seventh place went to Alondra Gomez, tag ID 42318. Eighth place went to Abby Nichols of Blue Jeans and Boots. And your ninth place went to Landon Olgan, Cottonwood 4H.
I don't think these top two cattle here could be any more different in their type and kind and what they bring to the table, and that's what makes it challenging because I think they're both good cattle. It's just on how where you want to lay your emphasis and where you want to prioritize a few different things. This young lady's golden colored calf here that's going to win for me, I think just overwhelms the class in terms of power. This guy is absolutely huge on the top side of his skeleton, really bold in terms of his rib cage, enormous in terms of his hip shape, got a lot of shape working down low, and then still handles it good enough for me. I would like to lengthen that guy out in terms of his maturity pattern, would like to stretch him out. I think he's a little cresty up there in his neck. I think he's a little plainer in terms of his front third. That's a calf that's just so powerful, so massive, handles it good enough on the move, and that's why he's going to win for me today. The one that comes here next, this guy is completely opposite. He's way up off the ground, super long bodied, got a ton of look from the side. That's a calf, a young man does a great job getting that one stuck from the side. A really neat looking calf. And one that for me though, considerably flatter there in his forerib. I think he's given up too much width in his lower skeleton. I don't think he opens up near as big up high. You get your hands on that one, he comes off just a shot trimmer, not quite as, not pushing quite as much fat there over his 12th and 13th, and that shows up in his lower skeleton, or in his bottom line, excuse me. You get behind that calf, he's not as powerful from behind. I do like him better from the side. I do like him better on the move. I think he's just given up quite a bit of horsepower to the one that wins, and that's why I'm going to stick him second. Young man's that comes next. This is one when he hit the ring, I liked him a lot. I think this calf is, from his shoulder back, I like it quite a bit. I think he shapes up good right behind his shoulder. I like that one's posture to his hip and his hind leg, standing still. That guy just needs to be more correct in terms of his shoulder. He wants to get over in his knee just a touch. I think he's given up some shape to our class winner. I don't think he moves as good as our second place one. That's why he's going to stand third. I'd like to fix him in terms of his shoulder. I'd like to give him just a shot more flex and reach out of his front skeleton. I think we could move that calf up. Kind of the same story for one that comes next. Shoulder back, I think this guy's got a lot of width up high, got some shape from behind. He just has to be laid back further in his knee. He's wanting to kind of get over there just a shot, wanting to buckle over there. The longer we stay out here, we could lay that guy back in his shoulder. I think that would help a lot of his issues, especially when you get him on the move. But that's a nice calf there. Just like to change a few things about him. As we get further down the line here, some cattle I think that have some nice parts and pieces. Maybe some that just need to be freshened up in terms of their condition. Maybe some that just need to be put together with a shot more quality from the side. But a really interesting class here with a lot of good ones in it. Let's give them all a nice hand if you don't mind.
First place went to Callie Bennett, Artesia FFA. Second place went to Ty Martinez, Loving 4-H. Third place went to Sam Bodge, Cottonwood 4-H. Fourth place went to Ethan Clark, Carlsbad FFA. Fifth place went to Mason Troublefield, Canyon Kids 4-H. Sixth place went to Miles Klein, Blue Jeans and Boots, tag ID 42324. Seventh place went to Miles Klein, tag 42325. Eighth place went to Landon Olguin, Cottonwood 4-H.
nice class here. Probably one of the deepest ones that we've had out here today, and that makes it just a shot more challenging. But with that said, I think the young man's calf that comes out and wins, I think is just by the longer we're out here, the longer we study these calves, I think it's the hardest to pick a hole in this one. I don't think he's the most impressive one that we've got out here in terms of width or power, but I do think this guy is more than adequate. He's the soundest structured. I think he's the nicest balanced. He's the highest quality from the side. When you actually get your hands on these cattle, I think he's the most genuine in his shape right behind his shoulder. I think he's the smoothest and most consistent in his handle from there back. We could power that guy up from behind just a bit. I think he runs away with this deal. But I love that calf's build. I like his skeleton. I think he does a nice job getting that one set up from the side. Super good looking, really nice, fresh, high quality calf that's just going to win for me today. The one that comes in here next, I do think this guy's a shot bigger footed. I think he's heavier structured. I think you get in right behind him. He does have more stoutness to his pin set. I think he drops with a shot more shape down low. You get up on, you start working your way forward on this guy. I don't think he's quite as consistent in terms of his handle. I think he's a little plainer right behind his shoulder. You get him out in motion, I think he's just a little more uncoordinated, a little more unattractive in the way he uses his hind leg. I don't think he's quite as fresh in the front third of his body as well. To change those things about him, I think that guy can move up because I like his width underneath. I like the boldness to his rib cage, and I like the stoutness from behind. Just like to change up those few things, make him a shot more coordinated and attractive when he moves. I think we could move that guy up. And when we first walked this one out, I thought this guy was going to be our class winner. I think this guy is a really stout and powerful, really big-footed and heavy-structured. If your first view is from behind him, I think it's easy to fall in love with that one. Super big in terms of his pin set, got a lot of shape down low. I think the longer that we're out here, I think we can pick this calf apart just a shot easier. I don't think he's quite as a good in right behind his shoulder. I think he's a little flatter in his full rib, and that may be a consequence of his shoulder being just a shot more on the outside of his body. We put these cattle in motion. He wants to work up in his spine just a touch. I think standing still, I think he's got a lot of good things about him. I just like to change him the most when we set him in motion. Wants to work up in his top, kind of swing them hind legs up underneath himself. I'd like to blend his front skeleton just a shot better as well. The young man's red and white one that's going to come next. This guy looks awfully good from the side. Really high-headed, neck comes really high up off the top side of his shoulder, super level in his top line and out of his hip. I think the young man does a great job getting that one shown. I think he's just given up too much horsepower. I think he's a little flatter there in his rib. I think he's a little more nondescript right in behind his shoulder and down the top side of his skeleton. And more than anything, when you get in right behind him, I think he flattens up in his lower quarter and stifle. In conjunction with him, he wants to pop his pastern just a bit as we get him out. Not quite as flexible as some that work up. One that comes next, I think, is really sound, really good in his build. I think that calf is smooth, really hard to pick a hole in, but at the same time, start to question what really does he bring to the table to elevate him in this class. I think he's smooth. Like I said, I like his build. I just think that calf comes off a little plainer, wants to run downhill just a touch, not quite as much muscle to him as well. The calves that come down the line, the young man's short calf here, big-footed, heavy-structured, just like to freshen that one up, freshen him up in his condition, freshen him up in his skin and hair, and I think he could move up. Some calves down the line here that I think just need a little more time, some with some muscle that needs some structure, have some muscle but just needs some structure redesigned a little bit on them. Maybe one that rounds out the class there. Got some shape, just needs a little more time to smooth up and fill out. And I think we can move that guy up as well. But an awfully nice class. Let's give him a nice hand if you don't mind.
First place went to Mason Golden of Cottonwood 4-H. Second place went to Callie Benton, Artesia FFA. Third place went to Caden Golden, Artesia FFA. Fourth place went to Sam Bodge, Cottonwood 4-H. Fifth place went to Kaylee Shockey, Cottonwood 4-H. Sixth place went to Kiefer Klein, Blue Jeans and Boots. Seventh place went to Haley Martin, Carlsbad FFA. And eighth place went to Willow Nichols, Blue Jeans and Boots.
Well, another good set here, and with that said, I think this a young man's calf comes out here and I think just runs away with it. You know, a steer that's just on a little different level out here in terms of one that's in terms of his quality, in terms of his skeleton, in terms of his build. And then I think that calf's got a really big top plate in him. You step in behind him, he doesn't disappoint you. A really nice calf from the side that moves good, looks good, got just a ton of quality about him. I think that one wins pretty easily for me. The one that comes out here next, this calf's got a lot of shape up high. You get in right behind this one, he squares up big right behind his shoulder. That guy opens up really bold in terms of his rib cage, big and stout in terms of his pin set as well. I just got to fix this guy in terms of his skeleton. He's a little upright off of either end. I like to see him travel with the shot more reach up front. See him have a little more flex to his hock, a little more cushion there to his lower joints. We change those things about him. I think it helps his next set. But a really nice calf there. Just got to change up his skeleton a shot. Young man's that comes in here next. I think this calf probably does move better than the one that precedes him. A calf that I think balances up fairly well from the side. Maybe one that's given up some in terms of his finish. A calf that's a little rawer in terms of his look. Maybe one that's not quite as fresh looking from the side. Maybe not one that has quite as much quality to him. But I think that calf's got some good pieces. The one that's going to come out next, really powerful. This calf is huge down his top side. This calf is really opened up. At the same time, I'd probably like to tone him back in terms of his skeleton. This guy wants to get a little outside of himself up front. Wants to get a little uncoordinated as he goes. We change those things about him. I like him a lot better because he does have a great deal of power working up high. Just like to make him a shot more conservative in his width up front. A couple calves that come in here next. I think all these calves are good in their skeleton, are really good in terms of their feet and legs and how they move. I just like to power all these cattle up. I think they just need a little more time. I just like to open them up, power them up, and see them have a shot more shape, shot more muscle, maybe freshen them up in their look just a bit. But a really nice class there. Let's give them a nice hand if you don't mind.
First place went to Ty Martinez, Loving 4-H. Second place went to Jordan Hamill, Artesia FFA. Third place went to Octavio Esquivel, Artesia FFA. Fourth place went to Clancy Conklin, Cottonwood 4-H. Fifth place went to Mason Troublefield, Cottonwood 4-H. Sixth place went to Madeline Clark, Carlsbad FFA. And seventh place went to Danica Jo Rose, Loving 4-H.
last class of the day here for the cattle show. I think is a really good way to end the day. I think we've got two really nice cattle up at the top of this class. I think that are maybe just a little different in their type and kind. I think this young lady's smoked calf here, I think, is just a little stouter. I think you read that one right out of the top side of his skeleton. He squares up with significantly more shape. I think you get in behind that one, he's a lot stouter in his pin set. Definitely drops a lot more shape there in his lower quarter and into his stifle. When you take this cattle from the side, I do think he plants up with a lot of look, a lot of attractiveness. I would like to change the way he moves just a bit. I don't think he's quite as comfortable in the way he uses his hock and his lower joints, but I think he moves good enough for me. A cattle that I think just puts a few extras together and just a little bit neater package than what we have in this black and white calf. I think that's a really neat one there. That'll be interesting to see when we get him out here in just a bit. The black and white one here, super sound, super flexible. Really like this one's running gear. Just gets out there and glides as he goes. A calf that's really comfortable. One that I really like his body shape. I like his flesh. I like his condition. A calf, though, that may be just a little plainer in terms of his muscle shape. I think he's a little easier in terms of his top line. That doesn't help his case. A calf that's a little plainer right behind his shoulder. I think you get in right behind him, and he's a little flatter there in his lower quarter. I think he just gives up a few of the extras to our class winner, but I can't knock just a huge hole in that one. That's why it was a little more competitive for me up top. The young lady's blue roan calf here that's going to come in third. Big-footed, heavy-structured. Calf's really burly in terms of his build. One, though, that I think's a little gives up a little bit when you get in right behind him. Is a little flatter there from behind. And more than anything, it's when we get this calf in motion. A little shorter in terms of his hip. Wants to get up under himself just a touch. Not quite as attractive when we set him there from the side. Mainly just his hip length that's throwing him off relative to the rest of his body. If we could change those things about him, I think he makes for an interesting top three. The one that's going to come next, a lot of shape up high, a lot of shape from behind. Maybe just like to redesign that one in terms of his skeleton. That one just gets a little up and down for me. You put the cattle in motion, he wants to get up in terms of his top, maybe not quite as flexible off those rear two. Young ladies, that comes next, really bold, really powerful. Still like to just conserve that one just a little bit up front. I wants to set that shoulder blade off the side of his skeleton, maybe just make him a little more conservative. It'd be interesting to see how that one moved. I think we could work that one up as well. Calf's on down the line here, a real stout, powerful one that's market ready. Just needs to be redesigned from the side. Maybe freshen that one up just a bit. The one that rounds out the class, just like to power that guy up just a bit. But an awfully nice class, a great set of steers all day. Let's give all these exhibitors a round of applause if you would.
First place went to Jordan Hamill, Artesia FFA, tag 20537. Second place went to Caden Golden, Artesia FFA. Third place went to Summer Crook, Artesia FFA. Fourth place went to Jordan Hamill, tag 20526. Fifth place went to Madeline Clark, Carlsbad FFA. Sixth place went to Cody Nichols, Blue Jeans and Boots, and seventh went to Octavio Escovel, Artesia FFA. like to give a thank you to our buckle sponsors. Your grand champion buckle sponsor was Neil and Jody Bledsoe, and your reserve champion steer buckle was Johnny Wilson. So we'd like to give them a huge thank you for sponsoring these buckles.
Well, as we wrap up the steer show here and get all these first places out here, I think we got an outstanding lineup again. Congratulations to each and every one of these exhibitors that made it out here. I think we had a tough show, so definitely a well represented out here in the Grand Drive. Again, I just wanted to say thanks for having me out, to be able to come out here and sort through your cattle and work with your youth. I think all you exhibitors, I probably owe a lot of people a big thank you. It took a lot of effort to get this show put on. We're in some trying times that definitely are in some uncharted territory that not many people know what to do, and no one knows which way to go. But this barn is definitely something that'll stay true, stay steadfast. The youth and this livestock barn here is one place that'll always be right. And so all you exhibitors, I want you to tell all your ag teachers and tell everyone that put this show on. It took a lot of effort, people that are taking some risks to put this deal on, and I couldn't be happier that this show went on. And congratulations to each and every one of you. If you would, give all these exhibitors a big round of applause one more time. I think the cattle out here are really nice. There are a couple of them that just hit me just a shot harder when they hit the ring. A few of them here that are just doing a few of the extras, got a few of the bells and whistles tied onto them. Some cattle that hit me pretty hard when they walked in. I won't take up any more of your time. I'll go show you which ones I like the best.
Your grand champion market steer went to Ty Martinez out of class 4, and then your reserve went to Jordan Hamill out of class 5.